Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever this message finds you. I hope you're happy, healthy, and well. This is going to be another intuitive message. Kind of have a different setup, and I'll probably continue to always have different setups. But for now, this is what I have. I dig the color changing light. It's something I'm into. So I'm just going to jump right into the message. I know that I've always gotten my downloads on nature, and so I've been feeling a little disconnected. I've been feeling very in solitude. It is the holiday season right now. Whenever you're viewing this message, by the way, is timeless. So if this message is just finding you now, there may be a message for you at this time. Also, this is a general collective reading, so this may resonate. Only certain parts may resonate with you of the message. Please take only what resonates and leave the rest, as it might be for somebody else. That being said, as I said, jumping into the message, bear with me as I kind of jump around because it's kind of a lengthy message. We'll see how long it takes for me to get this out. I did do some voice notes while I was on my hike, and as you can hear in the background, I do have a new oracle deck, and while I'm not really doing tarot spreads per se like I have in the past, I do use cards for confirmation. I've always just enjoyed the art of shuffling them as I think about some certain things, or as I'm in the middle of a channeled message, and occasionally a card will pop out that resonates with the reading. So hopefully the sound in the background isn't too distracting, but it is usually part of the reading. I don't believe in coincidence. So if anything pops out, I'll be sure to let you know, and I will go ahead and also let you see it. I'll put it here in front of me on this lovely selenite that I have in front of my lovely changing light. So back to the message. Here we go. It's funny. I've been feeling super disconnected. Now, I share stories about myself because, well, we're collectively on this journey, and I get my messages as I'm kind of going about my day, right? So a lot of this will be about intuition, right? This is any energies that are really tapping into their own personal intuition, their journey. It's going to resonate with you and your personal situation, and I need you to go ahead and use discernment and your intuition and only what feels right for you. So if this doesn't feel right for you, please click off. You have to know when to do that, and that's something that I've learned the hard way on my own journey. And so I share these stories, these thoughts as collective energy, because that's what it really feels like I'm tapping into. I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not special. I mean, yes, I'm alone. I'm special of all of those things, but I'm all of that and more, right? As above, so below, as are you. So whoever it is that I'm tapping into as I'm going about my daily business and, having these thoughts and downloads come to me, I have been in solitude, as are you, maybe possibly, or being called into solitude. But in that action of solitude, right, I know in my notes I touch on that, so I'm not going to get too deep on that right now, and I'll kind of circle back to that. And I will read from them and kind of stop and elaborate if I need to. However, I was going to go for a walk. I haven't gone for a walk. The weather's been really not great. My emotions, I've just been crying and purging and all of this stuff. End of year energy, just release, let go, let go, let go. Emotions, people, places, situations, experiences. It's just kind of maybe even another dark night if you have experienced a dark night of the soul, right? And we'll experience many of them as I have, and will continue to experience many of them as I've continually being asked to let go. I often say it when God says let go. I say God, but it's whatever higher vibrational energy that you tap into, right? This could be God, ancestors, angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, ancient ones, any and all higher vibrational, God himself, creator, universe, right? Gaia, any beautiful higher vibrational, and that's not limited to, but any higher vibrational energy that it is that you tap into. For the purposes of this reading, I will be using God, because that is who I resonate with, as D, all of the above, right? I believe that I get my messages through all of the above, but God as my higher power. So that being said, moving forward with this is I really feel like God has been asking me, you know, when I say let go, it says God, creator, universe himself, right? When I say let go, right? And grow is what I've been told numerous times again. And it's funny, 2 cards just popped out. And it's an oracle deck that I'm using. And they were in the reverse, right? It was actually be open and your beacon. So 5:25 on the clock when I said that, right? So it's like that mirroring energy. I've been getting those numbers a lot, like mirroring numbers. So I feel like anything that you're putting out is like directly being reflected back to you, collective, right? So if you're seeing mirroring numbers, right, there could be someone that you're connected to, but this could also just be, you know, that mirror energy, that the energy you put out is the energy you're getting back. And 5 is, you know, about really letting go. 555, just as I'm saying that, right? Thank you, Spirit, for that confirmation. But it's like letting go of any conflict, strife, or struggle. And as I say that, your beacon and be open came out in the reverse. And those are 2 things, right? Like me being my own beacon of light, right? It's this like beautiful star energy, right? I have not been that. I was called into solitude, really. I was not open. I was, as much as I preach about change, I was really struggling to let go because I knew that change needed to happen. But right, you, whoever it is, I was struggling with that. And you might be struggling with that now too. And this may provide some sort of confirmation for you about that. That being said, a lot of my routine has been up in the air. The weather's been up in the air. I haven't been able to exercise. I haven't been able to go out into nature. I have been able to do all those things. I did not do them because I found excuses to not do them. So, you know, distractions. The holidays have been a distraction. My life has been a distraction. I've allowed all of those things to be distractions when really there's no excuse. I could find the time. I could exercise inside. I can get that connection to nature just by walking outside my very front door, walking to the mailbox, right? Anything. I could just walk down the street. It doesn't even have to be some elaborate workout scheme. I can make excuses all day long. So anyways, I finally make it out today, and I'm getting my stuff together that I normally get, and I'm going to bring my dog, and I'm super stoked to have this time. It's beautiful outside. I found some alone time to really just like do a little self-care energy, check in, slept in, did the things, was really trying to get out of this little funk that I've been in. And it's not a bad one. It's just like really self-reflective. And I understand that energy now. I'm not scared of it. I am understanding that there's something I need to learn from this. So I push myself to get out the door. I push myself to get into the car. I'm like, okay, I grab my headphone case, you know, my wireless earbuds, because I like to listen to music, and sometimes if I'm being distracted, I'll listen to tarot. And I haven't been really drawn to listen to tarot. I've been really just tapping into my own intuition and maybe doing a few of my own readings without reading too much into other tarot readers' readings because I just haven't felt called to do that. But it's been it's been quite a while that I have been doing that. And so it's almost like I heard it, I'm just going to say it. It's like eating junk food, right? It's like I can hear about all of these situations and things on play, and like, you know, there's karmic situations, whether this is work or people or places or situations or, you know, lower vibrational energies that are attached to your situation, whoever it is that I'm talking into, right? It could be me, it could be you. But I really feel like this is an us situation in a much larger scheme of things. So as I say that, yeah, 9 struggles. I get into the car. I grab my earbuds. I forget my watch. No big deal. I get to the parking lot, and I go to get my earbuds out, and they're not in the case. Well, I'm kind of pissed about that, to be honest. I was like, really, like, what happened? Walk is ruined. That's right. Like, I just like so couldn't find the bigger message in that. And like, it's okay, you know, I'm just gonna cruise through this. I can put music on, you know, speaker and just walk it out. And I just need to get on the trail. So it brings me to the parking lot. Now, in hindsight, what I realized about me losing the or not bringing the headphones, but bringing the case, that was divinely orchestrated. And I got the message loud and clear. Thank you, Spirit. My ancestors, my spirit guides are very funny. They have a sense of humor. We joke, we laugh, we cry, we do all the things. They bust my ass and give it to me pretty straight, and also are very kind and protective. That being said, I do not believe there was any accident in me leaving those, because it was time for me to reconnect, right? To dive into that in the fullness that is nature, and to get those downloads. And so this is what I got while I was on the trail. I was able to really beautifully set my intention. I was able to really pray. I was really able to meditate. I was really able to like ground myself in gratitude. And it was a really beautiful, glorious day. And I feel like I would have been distracted, or would have attempted to find the distractions with the headphones. And so like the message for me in that was, when I came back, I kind of laughed. I found that things on the floor, like I don't know how the earbuds got on the floor. Again, I laugh, but I'm very easily distracted. So you might be really distracted about what it is that you are setting your intentions for, right? Self-care energy, all of that. So let's see. We're going to jump into it. I'm going to open up my notes and we're going to kind of go through them really quick. This was me on the walk, right? Today, actually, but this is whenever it is that you find this. So I'm going to put these cards away. Okay. So I was on the trail. I'm kind of going to read this and kind of paraphrase it. And I feel like, I've been guided that the energy will kind of come back as it's relevant in the today. I've realized that I can't let these messages go too far out, because it's speech to text, and sometimes the typos, it's just too far out of my conscious mind for me to get the download. So while it's still fresh, I've cleansed my energy. I've come back, I've decompressed from the walk, and I'm just going to go through the notes with you now. So I was on the trail. It's been a while since I've been, on the trail. And to be honest, I wanted to give up, right? I was super uncomfortable. I was super out of shape. My body has been not feeling that fantastic, and just, a lot of self-image, self-worth kind of issues coming up in that. The holidays have just been, overindulging even. I know I'm very aware that I have an addictive personality, whether that's with food, people, and I'm very sensitive to that, and also very aware. And that's something that I have been consciously working on. And I know I've made leaps and bounds in the last, 2023. And I'm very proud of the efforts that I have made in that area. But even for not walking for 2 weeks, I was super uncomfortable. And in fact, I'm not smoking right now. So I thought, I'm going to feel so great. I'm not smoking. It's been, over 2 weeks, and I'm really proud of that. I've quit smoking weed a while ago. And I actually love weed. So someone out there might be a smoker. No shade on the smoking. I do believe that, marijuana, weed, whatever, is medicine. It is of the earth. It's plant medicine. If used correctly, even recreationally, right? If you don't abuse it, you can use it. I am known to abuse it. So that being said, I just quit smoking nicotine. So I got the download that it's been time for a long time to do that. And I've kind of gotten past that grumpy energy, and I thought, I'm going to feel so good. I'm going to hit the trail. My lungs are going to feel great. And I did not feel great. I'm going to be honest. I felt absolutely winded. I felt super uncomfortable. So there might be something right now where it's like you're making changes, right? You're doing the work, collective, whoever you are. And even though you're doing the work, it's like you're kind of not in the process of seeing the progress or the results of that work. And that can be even uncomfortable, right? So moving on with the message. I felt super out of shape. And then the first 30 minutes of what was already supposed to be a 4-mile walk, that's round trip, right? 2 miles down, 2 miles up. I'm very familiar with, right? I wanted to give up. I was like 30 minutes in and I was like, nope, this is something I know. So there might be something that right? Something that you do often, or that some sort of routine, right? That you have been in, and maybe you kind of fell off for a little while, and whatever this is to you, person, place, situation, or experience, you have been called into or will be called into returning to a routine, right? And it's going to be uncomfortable, or it is uncomfortable. And when I say that, before, the give up part, I was being called, I very clearly, 15:05 on the clock as I said that, I wanted to give up. And I knew darn well, just based off of this past year and just kind of my journey and, you know, my own personal awakening, and as I continue to constantly awaken into my more conscious state, which will be a lifetime experience, I'm very aware that pushing past the uncomfortable, right, is part of that process. So I buckled up. I did. My spirit guides were like, yeah, that's cool. So you're here and you don't have your earbuds and you're physically uncomfortable and you're going to keep moving. And there was no doubt about that. I knew that was going to happen. So I kept going. So you might be on that path as well, right? So it's funny because I pushed past my uncomfortable and I caught my stride. And it's funny, as I was kind of on this like thought process, and I was like really being asked to dive deep into where I was on this path. And this path is kind of like a metaphor for life, right? So wherever that means for you, right? Please take this and apply it into your situation and how this is going to fit your situation, beautiful collective. So interestingly enough, I had COVID, hadn't gotten COVID the whole time COVID existed up until like maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And I got COVID for the first time, like officially. I think I had gotten COVID right before they said there was this thing called COVID out, and I got pretty sick. And I'm sure if I went to the hospital, they would have been like, "Oh, that's a pretty bad flu you have." All that being said, I officially got COVID for the first time. Just I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, and it wasn't that bad, right? I mean, fortunate, knock on wood, it wasn't that bad in terms of like my physicality. I actually didn't even know I had it. It was almost, like I just felt like I was really wiped out. It was like working a lot. It kind of masked itself. And so I kind of got knocked out. And so whatever this is for you, right? Like there could be some sort of situation where, you could have been taken down for a little bit, right? And in a very unassuming way, like, something's draining your energy, whether this is a person, place, or situation. So something could be draining your energy. And kind of just knocked you off pivot for a bit. Interestingly enough, life has been pretty good, right? I got COVID, I quarantined, I stayed home, I tested positive. I tested negative, I went back to work, life was well. Interesting fun fact, I lost my sense of smell and taste. A lot of people currently have, still are. And mine comes and goes, right? Like my senses kind of come and go. I can taste certain things, I can smell better on certain days. It's kind of like it's slowly coming back. And, I hear some people it comes back right away. Some people it comes back, within months. Some people it doesn't come back at all. So for the few times that it does break through, I'm very grateful. But I say all that to say, it's interesting because I never really thought about what my life would look like without those senses, right? So like there could be something where right, we have the senses, our 3D senses, right? Taste, touch, smell. And then we have, our higher vibrational senses, right? The intuitive sense, the cognitive intuitive sense, right? All of those wonderful things. Hey. Sorry. My pup's in the back. My counterpart on my little walk today. So we have these senses, right? These beautiful senses that, well, I think about a lot of things that I give gratitude for in terms of like, saying thank you for the breaths in my lungs, for the roof over my head, the food in my fridge, all of these things, right? Staying humble in that gratitude. I never really put into perspective my senses, right? To touch, to taste, to smell. Touch, yes. Well, I even cut my finger really bad and I couldn't use that one finger, and just using one less digit really put me out. And I've completely healed from that. I even got like the nerve, healed over time. And that did take time. And as my senses come back slowly, and those are healing over time, it really brought into perspective my senses. So there might be something that you're being brought into perspective about that you didn't realize in your own journey, collective, whoever this is that I'm tapping into. It's been coming back. So like I said, it's been coming back to the notes here, and it left me kind of depressed, right? There was some sort of like depression around that. And I had, like I said, I've been in solitude. I've been kind of forced into not for, I shouldn't, I'm never forced. We all have free will, but it's been very clear that at this point, Spirit does want me, excuse me, I am going to let my dog out. Being asked to, take that inward journey again, and, to figure out what it is that they're asking me to release on a deeper level. And as I do that, interestingly, I lost my sense of taste and smell temporarily. And as it slowly comes back, it's interesting because my sense of intuition has heightened in ways that I can't really explain. Even these downloads that I get, right, as I'm walking, this isn't how I've always received my downloads. And my sense of intuition, the signs and synchronicities that I get through music, through nature, through animals, through, I can't even put into words, right? Just my intuitive sense is gotten extremely heightened. So it's almost like, I'm going to go back to the notes. I think I said it in here. If not, I'll double back to it. But it's, I got the download that certain parts of my intuition have been heightened, and what feels like certain senses have been dulled, whether that was through COVID or through design, right? It was like these certain senses couldn't operate at all at the same time, right? These senses were being, while certain senses were being elevated, hey. Interesting. Stay. Confirmation. So, while certain senses, like my intuition, right? My third eye, my downloads, my visions, some of my clairs have really come into clarity, no pun intended. As those things have heightened, my other 3D senses got dulled. And it was as if, and I say this to say that you may be experiencing this, right? Whether this is with your intuition or certain gifts or abilities that you have, collective. Certain things, right? As you're called into solitude, as you're called into hermit mode, as people, places, situations, and experience leave you or are being taken, out of your 3D realm, there might be other things that get dulled that you were used to, right? In terms of routine, in terms of comfortability, and it might make you uncomfortable. But I do believe that this is through divine design, right? This is through some sort of, it's like, as the download that I got was like, as these downloads, as these gifts are heightened that, we may have always had and just didn't use them to their fullest ability, or they're being heightened, whatever it is, these gifts and abilities that it is that you're experiencing. I'm looking at a thing above where I'm doing this reading, and I see breakthrough, right? Number 22 may have some significance, breakthrough. And it's interesting, it's the sign of a rune, and I'm looking at it, and it's a mirror image of each other. It looks almost like two triangles, like the number 8 sideways, and it's the rune for breakthrough. I don't have my rune book here, otherwise I would read it. But, right, cycles and changes, like in new cycles, it's like as you release, new things come in, in whatever way that means to you. So back to my notes here. It's, well, okay. Sorry. Let me find my clarity and thought here. So let's see. Been elevated, operate all certain senses. We're being elevated. I've not been... I feel like the divine has put me back into solitude, which was scary in the past, and now I look at it as an opportunity to ask myself, what am I supposed to learn in the solitude? Why, divine, have you, right, God, source, universe, have you asked me to go inward? And is there something in the quiet, in the darkness, you're asking me to see from a different perspective? I'm not afraid of the darkness or quiet anymore. Instead, in the art of detachment and letting go, I often ask myself, how willing am I to trust? It's like the trust fall with the universe. When I say let go, let go, let go. And lately, I'm able to dig into my faith to push past these uncomfortable moments, like on the trail, right? Today, I can see that I am catching my stride. I can see that I was catching my stride and letting go of what's uncomfortable, letting go of the fear of not making it to the end, and instead allowing for the situations, places, experiences, and people to unfold, to find timing and trusting that what is for me will always be for me. It's a battle of self-worth, something I think I've always battled with, and it's not feeling seen or validated. Even saying that makes me want to cry. Okay, so whatever it is, collective, that you're experiencing right now, right? It's like there's this huge, massive purge energy, right? Of letting go of the emotions, of the fear, of the wanting to control, the knowing, right? Me even just like not looking at tarot. Like tarot can't control the knowing of what my future holds, because everyone, myself included, and anyone that's, you know, a part of a reading has free will. So, you know, we can, you know, with great knowledge and wisdom comes the power of having great knowledge and wisdom. And what are you going to do with that, right? Well, you can't alter someone else's course. I mean, a lot of people try to, and it doesn't really work out well. I believe in free will and not getting to, it's like the butterfly effect, right? It's like, okay, so you know the information. The only person that tortures in the end is you. And in some ways, you have to ask yourself, what does that even do in terms of the butterfly effect? Does that not make it so that you carry on, or does it? Or, you know, again, what will be for you and is always for you. And I truly do believe that. So wherever it is on your path right now, right, whatever this is that you're being called into solitude to take that deeper introspect at this time, it's like, it's the universe is definitely asking you to push past the uncomfortable, to dig into your faith, to dig into the solitude and ask the questions on why are you there? Why, what has brought you to this moment, and what are you being asked to let go of? What are you being asked to see from a different perspective, collective, whatever that means to you. So moving on, I was on the trail, right? And I'm kind of catching my stride. I'm feeling like, okay, I can do this. I know this trail very well. I'm going to do this. I'm a little less uncomfortable. And I know that they had just done brush clearance, and I saw it actually the day that they did it. It was quite glorious. I was very I even got to see the gentlemen, the beautiful souls that did the clearance. I was so grateful for that moment. And in that moment, I was able to say thank you to all of them. Today was the first day I was back since that moment of being on the trail, and they had continued on and did some additional things. Since the last time, it was a lot of the brush and undergrowth, and when I came back this time, you know, it was still glorious in so many ways, and a few things caught me off guard. So some few things as you're on this path might be catching you off guard, that might bring up some serious emotion, and this was kind of tied into the art of letting go. And the art of detachment and letting go, right? When God says let go, you know, let go, and trust and have faith that what will be for you will always be for you. And so interestingly enough, let me go back to my notes. I passed on the trail tree, and I often, you know, there's certain trees that are like markers for me. There's certain natural points and things that I see on this trail, because it's something I do often, that, you know, I know we're all connected. I know nature. I have a deep affection and connection, as we all do with nature, because we're all connected. You think of the root systems, you think of people. It's like, I could speak on that forever, and maybe I will in a different reading, but I see the interconnection between our plants, even your plants in your house, great. If that's something that piques your interest, definitely check out The Secret Life of Plants. They did a documentary on it. It's a very old documentary. It's, I think, maybe even in the 70s. And so it's a little dated, but the content is pretty relevant, and something more modern even than that, that speaks about the interwebbed connection in just the flora and fauna life, not even if you take people out of it, is Amazing Trees, and I believe that's on Amazon. But you can find The Secret Life of Plants, which is also a book. So it was based off of a book that was written, I think, in the late 70s, maybe even early 80s, but I'm pretty sure it was the late 70s, that was later taken and put into a documentary. It is a little dated, but it is kind of the cliff notes to the book. Definitely worth checking out if you want to see the connection between people and nature and plants, even those not planted into the soil, which is fascinating. It's the consciousness of plants. Super awesome. So after being inspired by many things, that just being the beginning of what that thought process was for me with my connection with nature, there are many things on this trail. I love to touch the plants. I love, as it's like giving like the leaves high fives. Yes, I hug trees. I do my best not to step on the roots because I feel like it's their toes. There's so many things, and there's so many markers that I have along this path that, I connect with, and, I have a corner that the crows are in, and I call Crow Corner. And anyways, all that being said, I come across this tree. Let me go back to this. I passed a tree on the trail, and I often like to give this tree like a kiss. Like I put a kiss in my hands, and then I put it on the tree, and I send it my love. And it was... Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was just reading my notes. So I come across this tree. There was a fallen tree. Now, I even know in fallen trees that they're not actually dead. And I know that's like a out there concept, but even a fallen tree has a root system still connected to the earth and still sends, vibrations across to the leaves, and there's still creatures that live in them and animals and blah, blah, blah. Life still exists within a fallen tree, even a tree that has been chopped down. That being said, the few things on the trail that changed were that there were more trees that were cut down for safety reasons. I totally understand why. I'm not upset about it. It just caught me off guard. And when I saw these trees, it definitely, specifically two of them, one was quite large and it laid across the path. Now, this was very, I have a young child myself, very physically able, and a pretty active dog. And we would have to, physically put ourselves over this thing. It was all the way across the path. And I would imagine that anyone that had any physical limitations wouldn't be able to get over it. You surely couldn't pass through it with anything. You'd have to be pretty physically able to get over this tree. It was quite large. I would say that the fallen tree was at least to my hip, and I'm like 5'6", all the way across the trail, which is a pretty large tree. So that being said, I get to this tree, and I pass the tree on the trail, and I often kiss this tree. It touches every hiker that goes across this tree. It has a lot of energy on it, right? Anyone that's gone up or down this trail, and this trail's very active, touches this tree. This tree touches this human because you have to touch it in order to get over. So it had a lot of energy on it, as well as a connection from the upper hillside to the lower hillside. I do believe it was a eucalyptus. That being said, I felt like it was a fallen loved one, right? It was like I feel like whatever this is, right? It's like being asked to let go of people, places, situations, and experiences, but specifically loved ones, right? Even if it's a loved experience, even if it's something that you cherished, it's like I was asked to say goodbye to an old friend. Now, I knew that they weren't actually gone. So the message here for you, whoever you are, is that they're not actually gone, right? Nothing, their middle section that they cut out of the already fallen tree, right? It was already quote unquote dead, even though it was not. It was very much alive. Even you can see it where they, had cleared the trail so that you could now physically walk through the trail without having to hoist your body over it. Was quite alive on the inside. And it had been down for years. That being said, it was quite alive on the inside. And so it was interesting. Now, the pieces of the middle section that they cut out were nearby. So it was like, I knew that even the part that was connected still to the root system at the top would still live. I knew that the part on the bottom would still hold life, right, within the tree itself and within the fallen branches that was already, home to birds and bugs and insects and all that fun stuff. So it was like matter never left. So as whether this is people you've lost, whether this is experiences that are leaving your life, right? There's that purging energy of being asked to let go, to feel the feelings, to mourn the loss, and to also allow yourself to feel. I definitely dropped to my knees and put my hands on the trunk where it had been cut, and I felt that energy, and it made me sad, right? I could feel the sadness of the tree for sure. So you may be very intuitive, you might be an empath, right? And you can feel the energy of those around you. And maybe this isn't you that has lost somebody or something, but I do believe that this is something that surrounds you in your energy. So these could be people, places, or situations that surround you, not you specifically, and you're picking up on that energy. So that being said, moving on in my notes. I make it to the second tree. So I make it past, I have my moment with a larger tree, which had already fallen, and I knew why they cut it, right? For safety issues, so that other people can enjoy the trail, so that it wasn't such a physicality getting through, over, and around it. And, I had my peace with that tree. Okay. So I just got in my mind's eye. I'm going to double back for 2 seconds to that tree. So there was a face on one side of the tree that had been cut there's 2 ends to the middle section, right? That was cut. And on one side, I didn't take a picture out of respect for the tree, but it was actually a sad face. It was 2 eyes, and in one eye there was and this was in the rings of the tree. Sorry, I shook the camera. There was a face, and it had a tear underneath one eye, and where the mouth would be was sad. It wasn't a smiling face. And I knew that to be the tree's, emotion, right? The crying, the sadness, and I felt that deeply. So you might be experiencing, right? As you look out at people, other people's emotions, you might be tapping into that, right? As you're tapping into your emotions, as you're tapping into your intuition, as you're tapping into your discernment, right? Collective, this is about you. This is your reading. I mean, yes, these things happen to me and I know that this is more than me. I know that these things are being brought on my path to share with the collective, to act as a confirmation, to act as a validation or confirmation for what it is that you're experiencing. So again, I tell these stories because I know that they are meant to be shared with you and for you to find the messages in them. So I believe that whatever this is, you are experiencing, right? You see the sadness in other people. You can feel their pain. And, I do believe that Spirit here is also asking you to use discernment, to understand what emotions are yours, to feel those emotions that are yours, and to also release emotions that are yours as well as other people's, right? Other experiences. It's that purge. It's when I say let go, right? You still need to move on the path. I still needed to keep going on my journey on the trail. So as I'm pushing past the uncomfortable, as that's all happening, I get to the second tree. And this tree was much smaller. It was hard for me to understand why this tree was cut, but I happen to know I met a beautiful, lovely, had a very, I believe them to be earth angels on this trail. And I have no connection to her. This person's name was Tammy. So that may resonate with somebody out there, or the letter T. So whether it's yours or someone that you're dealing with, but I come across Tammy on the trail just once, and she creates these little rock faces on the trail, and I had honored it and kind of gussied it up, and she walked past and she's like, oh, you met one of my friends. And I was like, oh my God, you did this. She just stoked me out so hard. I was so stoked to have met the woman who brings so much joy on my trail. She makes these little faces out of rocks and berries and sticks that have already fallen, and I find them. They're like little treasure markers for me. And she and I hiked for a little bit after we'd introduced ourselves, and she and I had very similar experiences, having children young, blah, 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 all these different little coincidences. And we really only hiked together for maybe 15, 30 minutes max to the end of our trail until we parted ways. And in this journey, she passed this small tree she passed this small tree, and I saw her ahead of me, and she was, walking on like the thinner part of the trail before they did the brush clearance, and she kisses the tree. She does the same thing I did. She puts a kiss in her hand and she touches the tree. Now this tree is very small, and it's kind of in like an opening, but the trail is kind of tight at this point. And she sees a little lizard, and she's talking to the lizard, and I'm like, oh my God, she does so many similarities. So you may have similarities with certain people as you might have these encounters with these earth angels as you're on your path collective, whoever it is that you are. And as you experience these similarities with these individuals on your path, you share these collective experiences. Like every time I parse these, I don't have her number. I may or may not see her again, but I can feel Tammy's energy. I know she exists. I know she is an earth angel. I know that, when I see the things that she leaves, I leave energetic messages for her, sending her love and light and hoping she is well, and thanking her for her beautiful energy that she leaves on the trail. So, it's a reciprocal relationship. I know that she gets those messages. I know that she's tapped into that. And as she passes this tree, I knew that this was somewhere that she put a lot of her energy to. And, I had too, and it was just so coincidental and funny and kismet, and it was wonderful. So you might have similar experiences like that with people in your life collective. And what's interesting is this little tiny tree was cut down, and I didn't understand why, and that was part of the message, right? I don't understand why certain things, have to go. And there's a larger plan. There's a divine order to it. Like, I do trust these guys who did the trail. They're so in touch with nature, and how they did the trail was so respectful. There had to have been a reason that this tree was taken down. Maybe it was, where it was growing. I don't know. The type of tree, maybe it wasn't well, I'm not sure. But this teeny tiny little tree that just seemed like so not in the way, but it was like right on the trail, kind of. It was just so odd. That one really also made me cry, right? But I knew that the energy wasn't gone. Like I still knew that Tammy still passed that spot. I still felt the energy, and it wasn't her that I was missing, it was the tree that I was sad for. But I understood that the love she still gave, that energy, like I still felt her giving that space, and in that space, the matter never disappeared. The tree never disappeared. It was there. It was back in the earth. It was like, I don't know if that's making sense, but I think I might have touched on that. So, as I carried on with this, let's see, back to my notes. I'm sorry. I think I'm going to wrap this up and put this into 2 different readings, because I do have a little bit more to go. And I already noticed that we are 44 minutes and 4 seconds, 4404, as I said that on the clock. So into this, and I don't want to make this too long. It's already kind of longer than I intended it to be, but it just is what it is. I know that this message will reach the person that is intended to, and so I will leave it as it is in its natural state. I'm going to finish this one thought about the tree, and then I'm probably going to cut this into 2 different readings. So, it was a tree that I knew, a fellow hiker. How was it, man? Oh, that's right. The fellow hiker was Tammy. That myself and this fellow hiker had loved and given love to. And I'm sure many hikers besides just the 2 of us, right, loved that tree. And we still had to say goodbye. Even when I touched it, I can feel its energy, and it still made me cry. I felt the sadness, but I knew I could still feel the energy. So I knew that it wasn't gone, but their energy had been transmuted, just like I don't know what that says. Just like something will be transmuted, just like maybe we will be transmuted, right? When we leave, we never leave, just like passed on loved ones, right? They're still with us, and that they know to be true. The lessons, as I was talking about letting go, literally, definitely guided, I'm sure, about the art of letting go, right? Of people, places, situations, and loved ones and experiences that you love. And I feel like that's where a lot of people in the collective are on our versions. Even if this is versions of ourselves, right? Programming people and ideas who we wanted to be, or who people think we wanted us to be, right? The sadness of letting go of that. And so I think it was hard, right? So whatever this is, it may be even hard for you to talk about, right? Because I remember in this part of me saying this, my throat chakra just slammed shut. I was like having a really hard time. This was talk to text, expressing that. So whatever this is for you might be really difficult even just to verbalize, right? This is more of an internal feeling. This is a confirmation if this message is for you. But as I got past that point, right, I'm pushing past the uncomfortable. Now I'm 2 miles in, and I've made it to pretty much the end of the trail before I touch it and return back the way I was going. Now, as I did that, when the wind picks up a certain way, to me that symbolizes change, right? The winds of change are upon us collectively, but you collective, right? It was like this beautiful, like after all of those things, after all of the emotion, the purge and all of that, it was this release. It was the winds of change coming in beautifully and calmly. It wasn't destructive and it wasn't chaotic, because sometimes the wind can be all of those things, and change can represent that as well. But this was really a beautiful energy. It was the winds of change in a very healing way. It felt very warm, very loving, very present in that now moment. So whatever that means to you. So I guess that was the journey down, right? That was the 2 miles. So number 2 might have some significance to you, but that was 2 miles down, right? That's like the kind of down energy of the stuff that's right as above, so below, that collectively is being purged, is being let go of, right? When I say let go and grow, right? I know that all of the trees, all of the things that they had cleared was going to make room for growth, right? For everything, for every opportunity in solitude or not in solitude that you've been asked to let go of, person, place, situation, or experience, just know that for everything that you have been asked to let go of, I am being told is and will be for a reason, right? It's going to allow growth in your life collective in whatever way that means to you, right? Personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally. It's that growth that you need, right? To keep elevating you to the next level. And as I turned around, right, that was my journey up. So we're going to touch on that in another reading I may put out today, or I may put out tomorrow. We'll see. This is already 48 on the clock. 4848, right? Healing, and it's that healing and abundance, infinity. It's the loop around. Oh, interesting. So Tammy said to me one time on that journey, and I believe that's like an angel message, right? And I think of 8 because I thought of her as like an earth angel. And so these divinely guided messages that I get on the trail, right? And the trail is kind of a metaphor for life for us all, is she said, oh, this is my loop, right? I call this like my loop. And she's like, it's not really a loop. And she was explaining to me the trail system, because I'd asked her, well, what's down this trail? And she's like, oh, it does this whole thing and blah, blah, wraps around. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. And she's like, yeah, when I'm really feeling like I really want to take the long walk, I do the loop. And she explained it to me, and it was kind of like an infinity circle, but it wasn't, but it was. And so as I saw 4848 on the clock, it's like that healing loop, right? It's like, if it's, the trail being that metaphor for, all coming back around, right? In divine timing, the healing, the lessons, the road back home, right? To source energy, as nothing really leaves in terms of matter and energy. So yeah, wherever you are on your journey right now, I just saw journey on my runes thing. Wherever you are, number 20 might have some significance for you, 20, or just two. Again, two has been coming up heavy, and I think of two actually a lot of like energy, of mirroring energy, a lot of mirroring energy, right? What you put out is what you're going to get back. It's reflective energy. So remember that, right? As you're on this journey, as you're being called into these lessons in solitude, and what are you asking, right? What are you putting out, collective? What are you putting out that you're getting back, right? If you feel like it's not the most fantastic stuff, continue to let go, continue to purge, continue to have faith, continue to stay in that humbled gratitude of even just the senses, of waking up and having, to be able to smell a rose, to be able to, to touch a loved one, being able to taste, to taste flavor in food, and to smell, touch, and experience life on a very 3D level, but as you're on this trail. So I do hope this message finds whoever needs it at just the right time. I will go ahead and put out the return, right? The journey home message in a separate reading, but I know that this message will find whoever needs it at just the right time. I thank you for your beautiful energy that you share collectively. I thank you for your energy that you share here. And yeah, your time. If you've made it this far, I would love it if in the comment section you put something, right? Like a little, of what is it? A little face, a little something that is a symbol for what it is, right? On your path, on your journey. What are you letting go? What are you being asked to let go of, right? In some way, shape, or form, or just anything that resonates, right? Anything that resonates with this message. In my mind's eye, if you can't think of anything, I see like a little plant, right? A little something that's growing, that you're watering, whatever that is, person, place, situation, or experience, in outside of yourself or internally. You're planting the seed. So grow, baby, grow. I do hope this message finds whoever needs it, and I sure do love you. I love, 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 love you. And I will catch you on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.